Hey folks, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. The I'm not feeling good arc continues. Although I am feeling significantly better than I was yesterday. If you did manage to see yesterday's ID Invaded video, my apologies if I sounded like a completely insane person. Regardless, I am feeling a hell of a lot better than I did yesterday, but that said, I am still a little bit stuffy, so if I sound kind of odd, that's why. Also, I would like to remind you all that if you would like to have your name shouted out in next week's Eizouken video, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, then be sure to share this video around on the internet and then tag me at JoJo Talks Too Much over on Twitter, and I will be sure to shout your name out in next week's video. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and dig into the first episode of Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken. Again, hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. My Japanese is terrible, but I think you guys probably know that by now. So some of you guys may have seen my What I'll Be Watching in Winter 2020 video, and if you did, you would know that Eizouken was nowhere on that list. For some reason, and I really don't know why, it just didn't pop up on my radar. I just totally passed it by. And that is weird, considering it's a Yuasa show, so you'd think that I would have seen like the director title and been like, oh, cool, but I guess I just dismissed it out of hand. Regardless, I want to thank those of you who recommended me to check out the show. A couple people even asked me to review it, which was genuinely really sweet. The fact that people are interested in my opinion is still something I'm trying to get used to. Regardless, I do want to thank those of you who told me to check this show out, because holy shit, this show was such this show is a big mood. It's just the easiest way I can put it. It is easily one of the most relatable shows I have seen in a long time, especially Midori, who is so relatable, it genuinely kind of hurts. And let's actually dig into why that is. Let's go ahead and start with our first real introduction to Midori. We see her and her family are moving into this new apartment type thing, and she is carsick on the way. But she does manage to perk up once she sees the building that they're living in, because it's genuinely the most interesting looking building I've seen in an anime, and it will later be followed up with one of the most interesting looking schools I've seen in an anime, but we'll get to that. What I want to say about the building itself is that it immediately sparks that sense of adventure within Midori, right? She wants to go exploring, see everything within this building, wants to see every little nook and cranny. Especially the fact that this building has a river in it. Where is this place? Like, where is this city that they live in? Because it's dope as hell. But yeah, so Midori has this idea of running around through the building, trying to take a look at every single aspect of the building, and I don't know if that actually happened or if Midori only imagined herself doing that and then never did, since later on in the episode we see, I think maybe just 2 minutes later, we see Midori like looking out at the rain, and her mom's like, hey, you should watch some anime, I'm gonna go pick up your dad from the airport. And Midori's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And she's sort of like a couch potato, kind of like curled up in a ball, laying down on the couch watching anime, and that was hella relatable, especially like the way that she was like laying down. I'm like, yeah, that's usually how I watch. That's how I watch like movies and anime and shit. If I'm like near my couch, I'll just kind of like curl up and lay on my side. So it was hella relatable. But what I really loved about it is that the show manages to blend a lot of like what's going on in Midori's head versus what's actually happening in reality. Because we do see that Midori, even at a young age, had this adventure journal, and the way that she like tracked, that's how like she imagined her adventures in the building. I don't actually think that she went on those adventures. I think she just drew them. I think she just drew the building to look like this insanely cool place. It probably does still look very cool. We did see that it actually does have a river running underneath the building, which is really dope. But I do think that even at a young age, this sort of sense of adventure sparked this interest in drawing, and not only drawing like little adventures for herself to go on, but also drawing landscapes, which we'll see come back into play later on in the episode. And here's where shit gets hella relatable, and I might get a little bit personal. And this is the scene where Midori is flipping through anime. She's like on some sort of like streaming site, and she sees what is essentially, like, it's a different name, but it's very clearly Future Boy Conan, which I've never personally seen, but its legacy is kind of well known, so I was, like, aware of it. When I saw, like, I don't remember what it's called, something Conan, and I was like, is that Future Boy Conan? That's interesting. And Midori eventually throws Future Boy Conan on, and is sort of watching it because, like, there's nothing else to do initially. but as she continues to watch it, she slowly gets more and more enraptured by it. And I gotta tell you guys, like, there's been a couple of shows that do that, and there's something, especially as a kid, there's something about living vicariously through the different shows that you're watching. Like, as a kid, I grew up on Pokemon, Digimon, Dragon Ball, and especially Dragon Ball. Like, I lived vicariously through Goku and them. Like, that, when I think about, like, adventures in my, like, young childhood memories, a lot of it is literally just me sitting in front of the TV watching Dragon Ball. Watching Ash try to become the very best like no one ever was, and watching the Digidestined try to save the planet over and over and over again, especially Digimon. Digimon always stuck out to me as, like, Digimon is the peak adventure from, in fact, it was called Digimon Adventure, we just only knew it as Digimon at the time. But Digimon and Dragon Ball were the two. Like, I love Pokemon too, but it's those three. Those three shows, like, are cemented in my memory as almost like adventures that I myself had gone on, even though it was just me watching anime. And I didn't even know what anime was back when I was watching it, right? So it's just hella relatable seeing this kid get enraptured by this adventure, and that later sparking this love of anime later on in the episode. And that kind of, I don't want to say like it got me misty-eyed or anything, but the emotions were stirring in me. Yuasa, like, damn, like, the direction of, like, seeing this kid get mystified by anime only to want to pursue some sort of involvement with that medium, it was really, really great stuff. Now, unfortunately, your boy can't draw, so I decided to cut my losses and talk about anime instead, but still, I do find myself relating a hell of a lot to Midori, and it's Midori herself that really kind of anchored me throughout the rest of the episode. Now, that said, I am still not feeling the best, so when the next thing I saw was the trippy OP that is Easy Breezy by Maiko, whatever. Easy Breezy is one of the weirdest looking OPs, and it was trippy as all hell, and I was like, am I having another fever dream? Like, what is happening? It's catchy as hell. It's going to be in my head for, like, the rest of the night. And the visuals are cool. And it's very, how do I put it? It's very Yuasa. Masaki Yuasa is so, like, even though he has, like, these different character designers and these different art directors and yada yada, like, come on to different projects, there's always a specific feel. And that's very much Yuasa at the helm of things. Like, even, like, throughout the whole episode, not just the OP, the whole episode feels very Yuasa. Like, you can very much feel that dude's influence and input throughout the entire episode, and even in the OP. And again, the OP was trippy as all hell, but it's also maybe one of my favorite OPs I've seen thus far. Also, those kids got better dance moves than me. Just gonna go ahead and throw that out there. Moving on through the episode, we have Midori and Kanamori hanging out on campus, and the school itself is where I get to talk about the background art, because holy crap, Shibahama is one of the coolest schools of the year already, no doubt. I really don't think there's going to be very many schools this year that match the creative energy that Shibahama has. Like this school's design is so insane, and I have to give my kudos to the art director Masanobu Nomura, who I only know for working on K, and it's not even like I've seen the K series, I just know the K series. So that's the only thing I know them from, and I gotta say, I am thoroughly impressed. But it kind of had to be that way, you know? Like, it really had to blend with Midori's story, because Midori is enraptured by her school and wants to make the school the setting of an anime because of how wacky and off-the-wall crazy the school itself is. And I wonder if that's actually going to come into play later on in the story. Like, maybe whoever was the draftsman who worked on the school is, like, because they say that the school is constantly being renovated, which makes me wonder if, like, maybe the person who was working on the renovations or the original drafts person was actually an anime fan themselves and also wanted to make, like, a wacky anime type, like real school. I don't know. Like, that's probably a stretch. But again, who the hell knows? Because it's just a cool design. A lot of the episode was just me marveling at the design work, and that also stretches over to the character designs as well. Naoyuki Asuna, who I only know for working on one other series, and it's not even a series I've seen, but Osamatsu-san. Naoyuki Asuna worked on Osamatsu, so I can kind of see the Osamatsu vibes vaguely, but not like 100. But I mean, you also have to factor in the original creator, Sumito Uwara, who likely also had some sort of influence on what the characters look like since they made the thing. But still, just visually speaking, the show is so different and interesting, and I love it. It's just cool. What I loved the most, though, was the dynamic between Midori and Kanamori, and might I just say, and this is jumping ahead a little bit, but Kanamori is the type of friend that everybody needs. Even if Kanamori has no real interest in what her friend is interested in, she is still gonna go out of her way to find like-minded people who can like try to be friends with their friend, right? Almost maybe to get them off their back. And Kanamori even says like, you know, a fashion model trying to be an animator, there's probably a way to make money off of that. Like, Kanamori is, as much as I love Midori, and like I said earlier, Midori is the anchor for me, it's Kanamori who might be my favorite. And Kanamori and Midori have a brilliant dynamic where Kanamori is this sort of like rough and tumble type girl. She sort of reminds me of like a more like goofy version of Uotani from Fruba. And yeah, like I said, most people need a friend like Kanamori, somebody who's just your friend regardless of your interests. Like, she's just your friend. Like, she may not like anime, but she knows that Midori and Mizusaki like anime, so she's gonna try to get those two to make an anime because, hell, like, there's probably money to be made off of it. And also, like, screw it, they're young, they should do whatever the hell they want. I am very lucky to say that I actually do have friends like Kanamori who just don't get the anime thing, but they're just happy that I'm doing what I'm doing, so shoutouts to my boys. And it's, I don't know, you gotta have a friend like Kanamori, and I really loved this character. And I do think that Kanamori's Seiyu choice, Mutsumi Tamura, is perfect, because if you don't know, Tamura also voices Kobayashi, who I genuinely, like, I could hear slight inflections of Kobayashi, vaguely. But Tamura also, just as a fun fact, also voices Zorome from Franks and Lutz from Bookworm. I don't know why you needed to know that, but now you do. And again, Kanamori is just a solid friend to Midori, actually like going with her to this anime screening of, again, Future Boy Conan, although they call it something else. And Kanamori is very clearly like, I don't get this is weird. Like, there's clearly more effort in this genre than I thought there was, but I just don't understand. And that's where we're introduced to Mizusaki, who I think of the three is probably the most like fun-loving. She seems the most like curious about the world, and I like Mizusaki a lot. Like, the main trio, I already kind of want good things for them. They're good kids just trying to follow their dreams, damn it. But with the introduction of Mizusaki, we get the final thing I want to talk about, and that is rescuing the princess, because we actually get a whole rescue operation in the middle of this episode. And like, I remember seeing it and I'm like, are we gonna get some weird shit? Because again, this is a Yuasa show, so I wouldn't be surprised if we got somehow even more crazy shit. And it doesn't like erupt into like a spy movie or anything. It just turns out that Mizusaki's parents don't want her to join the anime club because they don't want her to become an animator. They'd rather her settle for her modeling job. And I don't want to say settle as though modeling isn't something worth pursuing, because it very much is. But it's just that Mizusaki clearly doesn't want to just be a model. She also wants to be an animator. And the rescue operation is great. Like, I actually loved seeing them like try to save her because they think he's some creepy dude, but really it's just this guy who works for Mizusaki's parents. So she even has to say like, I don't think you hurt him. He's a really strong dude, but like, I'm fine. I don't know why you guys thought he was trying to hurt me or whatever. And I did think that was kind of funny because it left Mizusaki like covered in strawberry milk, just staring at them like, what the hell are you two doing? And the escape itself was really well animated and kind of interesting to see, like watching this dude trying to chase them around this like set of like this big building where like the steps can turn into a slide. It was just cool. And it was, again, just like a surprise and kind of weird, but also very fitting at the same time. Because in my head, I'm like, who would just leave this set laying around? But at the same time, doesn't matter because it led to something really cool. And this would lead to the trio hanging out and realizing that Midori excels in background art, aka being an art director, and Mizusaki excels in character art, aka character design. And I think that that's really freaking cool. The fact that these two, like, it almost feels like fate, the fact that these two met, because their two art styles actually like blend together and could make an anime. And it's funny because the show, I was thinking about this as I was watching, that this show is almost like a lo-fi Shirobako, which is actually kind of rad when you think about it. Do I actually think that they'll like manage to make an anime? Maybe. I can see them making a short, but I don't know if they'll ever actually get that far, like as they like, because in Shirobako they straight up make anime. With these characters, I don't know if they'll actually get to make a full-out show, if we'll see a time skip where they're like part of a team or something, but I can see them making stuff. For example, let's go ahead and talk about them metaphorically building a dragonfly mech, because basically what happens is that they start to kind of toy around with the idea of this like mech design, right? Mizusaki drew this mech, and Midori drew the sort of background art for the mech, and they start kind of imagining what the mech would look like, how it would move, how it would operate, and stuff like that. And this leads to them like basically them actually jumping into the world where the mech is, and it's like a big metaphor for them like working on the mech and how it would move and stuff like that. So it's them actually going on the adventure of building this dragonfly mech. And it's so freaking cool. And again, my favorite part of it is Kanamori just sort of going along with it, because she's like, I have no idea what's happening. And that was kind of me, where I'm like, okay, I guess we're building mechs now, and we're flying in mechs. And my only, like, it's weird, right? Because this scene is both the best scene of the episode, but also I feel like maybe it went on too long, because there was one point where they fly away, and I was like, that's awesome. And then the scene kept going. I was like, oh, okay. I got the emotional catharsis already, so I'll just kind of hang out. Like it's not like bad or anything. I was just like, oh, okay, I expected the scene to end there, but whatever. I'm not gonna complain about a cool dragonfly mech flying around, you know. But I did think it went on longer than I thought it would, which I guess is a nitpick / complaint. I guess I don't know. I still liked the scene overall, and I thought it was really, really interesting to look at. And I loved that it was the three of them sort of going on this adventure, and how anime feels like an adventure to them. And there is immediate chemistry between these three. I'm talking like immediately you see how these three are going to operate as a unit. And again, like I said earlier in the video, I just want good things for these three. They're just trying to follow the dream. I love them already. And yeah, I don't have any ships yet, but I will keep you updated. On that note, everybody, I'm gonna give Eizouken's first episode a really, really, really strong rank of A. I wanted to give it an S, but there's some nitpicky stuff. But overall, it is like damn near close to that perfect rating for me. Like, this was probably the best premiere I've seen so far. Until Haikyuu comes out, where it probably gets an S. What? Who said that? And that's gonna do it for today's video, everybody. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And before we go, as always, I have to give a big, big thank you to the good folks over on Patreon, especially those in the Earl Grey tier: Andrew W., Calvin A., Crowbar of Irony, Daniel G., Digger the Fox, Dominic G., Ionos, Urza, Ginkutaku, Godzilla Fan, No For Nothing, Maria Teresa, Marshall B., Mirth Mouser, Cell, Shadow Creative, Sipco Games, Somastan, Stephen G., Sakochi, Tristan G., and Verdon. A huge thank you to all of you in the T Squadron for your continued support, and if you too would like to join the T Squadron, then be sure to check out the first link in the description to check out our Patreon page, see all the cool rewards you can get over there, as well as access to our Patreon exclusive Discord for as little as $1 a month. And with that said, we're gonna wrap up today's video, everybody, so thank you all once again for watching, and if you are feeling stressed out today, then you go have yourself a warm cup of tea, and I will talk to you all again real soon.